Hi, WT with Maughn Home Inspection Services, and I've got a little treat for you here today. Even home inspectors are not immune to having deficiencies in their home. The house I live in, it was originally owned by my mom. We took it over from her, and before we moved in here, she had the master bathroom, which is a half bathroom. She had it remodeled. And my wife was complaining the other night about a slow drain, so I decided, well, no, I'll crack it open, take a look at it, see if I can't clean out the drain and so on and so forth. Well, I found something under there, and I had known it was under there before I started all my home inspection training, but I didn't remember it was there until I got under the sink the other day. And the contraption I want to show you is this. This is a flexible drain pipe. It's kind of like one of the bendy straws your kids get. You know, it'll bend and contort and get out of the way and so on and so forth. And I'll show you a picture of this here in the video here in just a second, how it was hooked up. What I want to cover for you in this video is the fact that these are not approved by the building code. What these pose what we call a health safety hazard. Now I've kind of cleaned this thing out and you can't really see down in there or anything. The problem with these things is they start to hold water, and they'll hold the hair. If you've got one under your kitchen sink, it'll start holding little bits of food that get down the drain. It's real nasty. It'll cause your drain to stink because it's not below the P-trap. The P-trap, which is one of these handy dandy little contraptions, this would fit in there much like this. Your sink drain would come out here, and this part would come up, and there's the old one. Well, let me grab the clean plastic one here. You know, this is the way your drain would look with this contraption in there. So the P-trap holds water, and it keeps your sewer gases from coming back into your house. Well, if you've got all this gunk, debris, mold, mildew, bacteria all growing in all these little bitty grooves, and it just stays there, it doesn't go down the drain. All these little grooves in here hold gunk in it, essentially. And so you'll start to get smells coming back up your drain. And this creates the health safety hazard. It can mess with your sinuses, your allergies. Any number of health issues can come from this, especially if it's in your sink. Your sink's growing bacteria and the little germs and stuff are crawling out in the surface of your sink. You know, your kid drops a grape in there, thinks it's all right, and just, you know, pops it in their mouth and goes. You know, it's very nasty. And like I said, they can really start to stink, especially in the kitchen drain where they get food in them. Like I said, these are not allowed from the allowed by plumbing code or the building codes in any place ever. The problem is, people do the DIY, remodel your bathroom, much like my mom did. And, well, when you put the new vanity in there, well, the sink doesn't exactly line up the way the old one used to. You know, things get finagled and whatnot. And what happened was, like I said, it's a little half bath, and it was kind of cramped next to the toilet with the old sink. So Mom bought a new vanity, a skinnier vanity with a smaller sink, and it pushed it over closer to the wall. Okay, so in this picture, if you look back there at the wall where the flange is, you can't really tell that it's coming out at that 45-degree angle, but the 45-degree copper angle is back there at the back wall, and then the arm comes out and down and switches back to the P-trap, and you see it's all pitted and nasty looking because it's older than dirt. And right there where the flex pipe meets the P-trap, it's sealed with silicone. Now,
every fitting has to have some form of sealant to it. When I say sealant, I mean it needs to have a compression nut, a soldered joint, something to that effect. Because obviously you don't want gray or black water coming out all underneath your sink. And then another thing that they did in here to modify this whole sink contraption is the tailpipe where the stopper in the sink goes, all that mechanism, that pipe is cut off short. So not only did they put in an improper drain pipe, they trimmed up the tailpiece from the sink, which is not a problem. If you need to do it, that's fine. And then it was just siliconed into the pipe. It wasn't even truly sealed properly. Again, these things are health safety hazards. They're nasty little things, and you can find them in every home improvement store. Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, you name it, they've all got them. And it's for people trying to patch something, they remodel something and they don't know how to make the pipes fit back properly. Like I said, get a license. Get a licensed plumber to get these issues fixed if you're not capable of fixing it yourself. So that's this photo of underneath the sink before I took it apart and started working on it.
So what I had to go in and do was get a big torch and pray I didn't burn the house down. I desoldered this pipe out of here. Actually, it was in this coupler and then in there. You can see all the shiny solder all over it still. I had to pull this pipe out and put a new one in to where it came straight out. Now, the house I live in is 50 years old, so I decided that, you know, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm pretty sure that that drain pipe is pretty close to as old as the house, so I decided I was gonna go ahead and go get a new whole new assembly. Well, I ended up making an acceptable hybrid drain pipe. As you can see, I've got the metal P-trap here and the plastic arm here. Actually, and then on the sink, it's the metal arm with the plastic P-trap. So that's how I went about getting it done. The reason why I have the plastic P-trap under there instead of the metal one is because the plastic P-trap is almost a ½ inch wider across the bottom, and that's what I needed to line the sink up with the P-trap. And I'll show you a picture now of how it was properly done.
Okay, so in this photo you can see that the pipe now comes directly out of the wall into the plastic P-trap. And if you notice, there's a new tailpiece in the sink there that's longer. And as you can tell, it's not long enough because there's tailpiece extension there. This is the appropriate and acceptable method of extending a tailpiece pipe for your drain. You cannot use that flex pipe for this situation. It's not acceptable. So if you look carefully where the pipe's coming out of the wall, you can see where I singed the wall with the torch, and I ended up, I had a spray bottle of water with me, so I could extinguish anything that was glowing red and so on and so forth. I made sure I was doing this all as safely as possible. I'm not going to show you the solder joint. I'm not proud of it. It's not pretty, but it is holding water. I tested it, filled up the sink, filled up the sink all the way, and released the drain and let it flow out to ensure that it was indeed holding water, and it does hold water. There's no leaks. If a home inspector comes in your house, this is acceptable plumbing. Actually, I ended up putting the flange back over the pipe and back over the extra area that I cut out of the wall to allow for the torch to be there without hopefully not catching anything on fire. So everything went back to together the way it should be and the proper way.
So back to this. This isn't allowed. This is a bad thing. If you go in there and look under your sink and you find one of these, get rid of it as soon as you can. If you're not the kind of person to do it yourself, please by all means find you a qualified licensed plumber to do it. Now, considering I had to use a torch to do all this, I'm not going to show you how to do it yourself. Frankly, I don't want the liability. But there are other people out there that I'm sure have YouTube videos on how to solder pipe and so on and so forth, how it's all properly done. If you want to go that route, by all means. If you want to read a book on how to solder pipe and how to fix your own plumbing, by all means. I encourage you to do it. That's how I did it. I went out there to the plethora of information out here on the internet, and I got what I needed to do the job. But for my own sake, I'm not going to teach you. But I will tell you that this is a no-no. This is a nasty thing, and if you got one, either figure out how to fix it yourself, which you can do, or get a licensed plumber to come out and replumb your sink. So, happy house hunting. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.